Hey everyone, this is Darcinovi here, back with another review. Um, it- this is Jedi Quest, not Jedi Quest: The Search for Truth. That will be next time. This is the first one. This was released in 2001 when the Jedi Apprentice series was still going, and this essentially is one of the few stories that has a young Anakin prior to him being, who he is in Episode 2. So the Jake Lloyd Anakin Skywalker, there aren't that many stories featuring him. The reason I keep bringing this up because there aren't many stories. It's very rare to have pre-episode 2 stories of Anakin Skywalker in general, but a young Anakin Skywalker. This story, he's 14, and like the last time I talked about it with the special edition. This focuses on Anakin having to deal with some inner demons. And one thing I really like about this book is it dealt with a conflict that Anakin has with him being a slave, because considering slavery is a touchy subject for him. Obviously, for him being a slave, and this book touches on that. That this was released before Episode 2. I don't know. I would like to know the writing process that went behind this book, considering George Lucas has the tendency to be very protective of characters like Luke Skywalker and Anakin, considering they're like his kids. So the, Jade Watson must have had to talk to George Lucas on how Anakin got his lightsaber. I mean, the fact that it was told before Episode 2 came out, that was cool, to be honest. I wish I would have read this back in the day. I can't imagine people reading this while they're waiting for Episode 2, because at the time there weren't that many Anakin stories, between Episode 1 and 2 in the expanded universe. At the time, the big event that was going on in the EU was the New Jedi Order, and there was barely anything released in between. In the novel department, you had the Jedi Apprentice series, which focused on Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but there was barely any stories that focused on Anakin Skywalker. It was very sparse at this period. The fact that there's even we even got Rogue Planet at all in this is a miracle. It wasn't until like sometime before Episode 2, which actually I gotta look up when was this book published? Sorry if I'm this. I had to fact check in this review to be sure. Yeah, 2002. Later, I'll look when I do the review of the next book in this series. I'll let you know when it came out. Anyway, this is one of the rare occasions where a children's novel got the hardcover treatment. That it was very rare. And to be honest, this one is not very hard to find if you're looking to read a pre-episode 2 story featuring Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker. Of course, if you read the Jedi Apprentice series, um, this is like a continuation of Obi-Wan's ongoing character arc that started with that series. And if you're reading it in order, um, reading the natural progression with Obi-Wan's character, he at this point he's still insecure about him, being Anakin's, master, and it's hard. Of course, this book primarily focuses on Anakin, how he deals with someone that victimized one of his friends in the past. Anakin, of course, if you know anything about him, he hates slavery, and Obi-Wan, one of the rare occasions, reconsiders his position that he doesn't understand Anakin as much as he thinks he does. This also just shows us how much different Anakin and Obi-Wan are compared to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. If you've read the Jedi Apprentice series, which I don't think a lot of you have who are watching this series, unfortunately they're not widely available, you would be able to see that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, it took them years to build the relationship, but they did through different means than Obi-Wan and Anakin. There's something that gets touched on later, which I'll bring that up when I review the second book of Jedi Quest, or is it the third? Whatever, I'll fact check next time. Anyway, how's the story for Jedi Quest? I talk about the stuff that was interesting more than the story itself. Well, Jedi Quest, at least this particular one, things that happen. Anakin builds his lightsaber. He deals with an antagonist that is related to his past, and at the end of the story, Anakin actually kills him, claiming that he was defending himself. Of course, this also foreshadows, of course, everyone and their mom knows this at this point, Anakin's eventual fall to the dark side. Of course, if you read the Jedi Apprentice series, you also see some similarities between young Anakin and young Obi-Wan. For those of you who are reading this, who have read this, but haven't read Jedi Apprentice, you're not going to understand why I bring up the similarities, because Obi-Wan was reckless, and he had problems dealing with his anger, just like Anakin is in this. Of course, I don't want to give too much away. I don't think this book is too hard to find. I looked it up on Amazon prior to this review. It's available in two formats, in paperback and in hardcover. It isn't too expensive. I got my copy on eBay. If you want to read a story that features Anakin Skywalker prior to the events of Episode 2, I would pick this up. I think it's a good read. It isn't a long read. It's relatively short. But considering how little pre-Episode 2 stories that exist in the expanded universe, believe it or not, there really isn't that many stories between Episodes 1 and 2. I've looked this up myself. Yes, you do have a good amount of comics that take place in the pre-Episode 2 era, but if you count the amount of material that exists between Episodes 1 and 2, there isn't that very much. You have Rogue Planet, the Jedi Quest novels, including this one, and a few others. There really isn't that many pre-Episode 2 stories. And if that era of the expanded universe fascinates you, I would recommend you pick this one up. I will bring up the other books in another time. I give this a classic rating. I think it's a really good story. And it's a start of the ongoing development between Obi-Wan and Anakin's, relationship as Master and Padawan, and eventually brothers. This is Darcenovia, over and out. May the Force be with you. And next time, we will return with the second, Jedi Quest book. Well, technically the first, if you're going to want to be technical. Jedi Quest, The Search for Truth. Later, everyone. Have a nice day.